carers, they're the owners themselves. We're actually going to step back and talk about pain and the consequences of pain and the different types of pain and the importance of controlling pain, so people can really get into context why this tool is incredible. But basically, guys, by the end of this 45-minute live, we're going to introduce you to a monitoring device that we hope is going to start featuring in veterinary practices in and around the globe. And it's going to be able to be used during surgeries, during examinations. It can be used remotely. So there's going to be like a telehealth component to it, where if you're unsure whether that stoic dog was actually saying that hurt, you can look at an instrument that says, yeah, that did hurt, but they kept a straight face. If you were doing surgery and your dog was anesthetized and you're doing something, you're thinking, have we got a good enough pain control here? You're going to be able to track it. And this is nuts, because for us, you know, it's already it is difficult when, say, you're a practitioner and you're examining a dog and you get that slight little indication that they said that's sore, but the owner may not have seen it, or they haven't seen that movement or that posture or that white of the eye or just a little flick, to be able to then look at a device and go, you know, I just saw them do this. Well, actually, let's look at the PainTrace because it correlates, you know. So when they turned around and just did little whites of the eye, a little bit of hesitation, that really is suggestive of pain. And these two, so now we've got something that we can carry on using. Your dog does talk to you, you know. Wow, that's going to be so cool. So that's what we're going to get to. But I think first of all, shall we just kind of talk to people about pain, acute pain, chronic pain, and go for it, lady.
Oh, I get to lead? Okay. Well, I think, you know, you and I talked about this earlier, and there's a couple different types of pain, right? And I think acute pain, as you're suggesting, is easier to visualize. Dogs will react more to an area that's an acute response to a flexion or extension of a joint. But chronic pain is something that, you know, whether we look at humans that self-report or, you know, if we're looking at the veterinary, it's a little bit more difficult to detect. Even people, even humans have difficulty self-reporting chronic pain. They don't really have a point of reference. So you may start out with something being a 6, but over time it becomes a 3 or 2 from your perceptions point of view. But it doesn't mean that the physiological trauma or stress is going away. And I mentioned to you, you know, in kind of our preparation is working with Johns Hopkins and Glenn Treisman, who ran the inpatient pain management program there. And he said one of the most difficult parts about chronic pain is helping be able to identify it over time. And people are maybe downregulating the use of an opioid, increasing physical activity, increasing rehab and other forms of modalities of treatment. But they feel worse, or they don't believe they're getting better. And the ability to have a scale, like when you lose weight, to be able to weigh yourself or see those tight jeans and go, oh, hey, you know, these are all things that we look at and we go.
That's fascinating, because you've been, yeah. So I follow a lot of other organizations, but more in the healthcare setting. So the Creaky Joints, Arthritis Foundation, there's so many newsletters I get. And generally in these newsletters, it's very much from a client's emotive life perspective. So these newsletters are there to empower people that they may live in pain, but you can still go up and go for a walk. And we're all ears. We know some days it's hard graft and some days it gets you down. There's a big emotive component to having chronic pain. There's a really big connection with depression, etc. And sometimes you could imagine that somebody would perceive that they're still suffering a huge amount of chronic pain, nociceptive stimulus from a problem, but actually they're not, but it's still here. They're still experiencing it. So if you were able to show them a device saying, well, I know that you feel that your joints are really giving you a lot of gripe at the moment and you think it's not improving, but you know, that new intervention we started a month ago, well, look what your trace is doing. Your trace, that will then flick them and go, oh, this is good. You're going